BMW are celebrating their 100-year anniversary this year, and to commemorate that in South Africa, the BMW Club are staging their Concours event at Nelson Mandela Square. Behind me, over 60 BMWs of various shapes, sizes, ages, mechanical configurations, and we're here to see just how much effort some of their owners put in to their beloved BMWs. The short answer is a really astounding amount. The collection of spotless BMWs on display was testament to the love, care and attention to detail that members of the BMW Car Club Gauteng put into looking after their cars, some of which look like they'd just arrived from the factory, despite being decades old. The build-up to the event happened over the course of a few weeks, and we had the chance to chat to some of the owners at a pre-event at Zwartkops Raceway.
It's a 1976 530 MLE, sometimes commonly known as a Motorsport Limited Edition or Motorsport Light Edition. It's built in the mid-70s. It was actually a car that BMW wanted to race in South Africa on the production saloon series. They didn't have a car to use, so they contacted BMW Germany in those days to help them build a race car. And BMW Germany connected up with AC Schnitzer for the first time, and their motorsport division built a race version of the 530. And before they were allowed to race the two race cars, they had to build 100 for the road. So they built 105 cars, all similar to the one standing behind us. And it's the first M ever built in the world. This is number 21, and a very, very rare car.
It's a BMW 700. It's a 1960 model. There's not many around. I've actually found about 20 of them in South Africa. It's a replica of Hans Stuck's racing car. There's one in the museum in Munich. It's got the R69 BMW motorbike engine in it. They've done a few tweaks on it. There's a cooling system that they put onto the engine, but otherwise everything is exactly the same as the R69 bike motor here. When we got it, it was very sad. I contacted Hans Stuck with email, and he was over the moon. He sent me a lot of pictures of his car in its race day and whatever. And from there we started building and ended up with this.
BMW has always been in the family, been dropped off at school, picked up from school, hated it in the beginning. Old age, you start enjoying it again, you know. This specific model is a 68 model. I don't think you should have garage queens, if you may say. Enjoying the car and driving it daily, knowing the characteristics of the car is more fun for us. I had an extra car at home, and I had a choice of selling the M3 or the 2002. And I had both keys up here, and I said, you know what, M3 can go.
The main thing is the sound and then the handling. There's no car which can handle like this on a track. They developed it for the track, and that's what makes this car special. Yeah, it's the E30 M3 4-cylinder 2.5. They were all built in left-hand drive. There were about 57 who were later converted into right-hand drive by a private company in the UK. I've had offers of between 800 and 900, and I wouldn't let it go at that. I wouldn't let it go at any price, actually. You can't import them because of the left-hand drive. Nobody can acquire them except if they buy one of 3 of them in South Africa.
The car is very special. It's a manual 745, of which they only made about 14, exclusive to South Africa, and it was developed in the early 80s by a bunch of very interesting people. Piscis Rieder, Paul Roche, big hitters at BMW. Piscis Rieder went on to head up BMW worldwide, and this in fact was the prototype that was his company car as well. So it's the car that is featured in the brochure, and it's probably one of the most irreplaceable cars that I have. They put the M1 M88 engine into it, which made it the fastest 4-door sedan in the world at the time. Price-wise, it nearly doubled in value in the 4 years that it was on the market, and was actually more expensive, marginally, than a 308 Ferrari and a Porsche 911 at the time. It was also the car that catapulted BMW South Africa's leather factory into glory, which led to the South African leather factory supplying all the leather in BMWs worldwide for a number of years.
Fast forward to the main event and we found ourselves back in the company of those cars we had met earlier and a whole bunch more. Included in the lineup were a pair of 8 Series models, members of a series that is a very rare sight in South Africa. Built by BMW for just 10 years, the lineup included the 850i, powered by a 221 kilowatt V12. The model featured a number of firsts, including drive-by-wire throttle. The other 8 Series on display was the 840i. It was available with a 210 kilowatt V8.
This is a BMW Isetta 300. This car was built in 1956 after World War II. Back in Germany, oil was a bit of a problem there, so they decided to build little cars like this. This car's got a 300cc engine from a BMW R27 motorbike. My dad's owned it for about 20 years. He took it to Cape Town twice, back in 98 and 99. Compared to a normal car, it's a bit slow, a little bit unstable because of the axle being so small. No, the turning circle's also quite bad, but I mean, what more do you expect from a car that was built back in the day?
The event also featured a few models that are particular to South Africa. The E30 333i was created by BMW South Africa's motorsport division with help from Alpina. It was fitted with a 145 kilowatt, 285 Newton meter 6-cylinder from the E30 M3, and only 204 models were built. Another South African special was this E12 5 Series. The 518i might look like a regular version, but it was manufactured towards the end of the generation's production run, and so benefited from the later E34's generation interior while retaining the older mechanicals. It was easy to get lost in the stories of the cars at the 2016 Concours, but it was still a competition. The judges were out to find winners in 5 different categories, from casual competitors to those who had spent an enormous amount of time and equal amounts of money keeping their cars in as good a shape as possible. Guys like Paul Casson, owner of this 3-litre CSL.
It's a 1972 second generation 3-litre CSL, which means that it's the first generation fuel injected, whereas the first generation was carbureted and a much lighter model. It spends most of its life hidden away. The CSI is a standard car, heavy-bodied car, whereas the CSL is a lighter version developed for racing in the early 70s. I entered the car for the joy of it. I like to show the car off. I like people to appreciate the car. I appreciate people coming to me and asking about the car. It's not about winning for me, it's just part of, well, being part of the scene, as it were.
And with such an impressive array of some of BMW's finest on display, it's a great scene to be part of.